Labor returns to power for the first time in almost a decade.
Labor government has won another 4 years in office.
Daniel Andrews, an historic third term in power.
Yes.
In every territory and nearly every state, Labor is in power.
It is a bit of a crisis for the Liberal Party. I mean, they were hammered in the federal election. They've lost state elections all over the place. If they lose another one here, they've only got Tasmania left.
The Liberals and Nationals have been in power here for 12 years. In the last term of government, it's had to deal with one crisis after another. So, will the past 4 years help or hinder the coalition when New South Wales voters go to the polls?
There's no question that 12 years in government, regardless of how well you've performed, starts to look a little bit rusty in the electorate. So there will be some yearning for change. The real test will be how urgent that yearning is.
After years of drought, New South Wales was engulfed by flames. Soon after, the pandemic hit, throwing communities into lockdown. Then the floods began, destroying homes and livelihoods. The state also lost its popular leader. A corruption watchdog investigation led to Gladys Berejiklian stepping down.
Resigning at this time is against every instinct in my being and something which I do not want to do.
I, Dominic Perrottet.
So Treasurer Dominic Perrottet stepped up. Labor had its own changing of the guard after its loss at the last election, then replaced its leader again. Now Chris Minns is at the helm, hoping to lead his party to victory.
Elected leader of the Parliamentary Labor Party.
Stability is always a source of support for you coming into an election, and neither side has leaders in place that have been around for a long time. They're relatively untested.
At this election, it's the coalition talking up long-term infrastructure projects and economic reform, while Labor is pitching itself as the pragmatic and fiscally responsible option. But it's the cost of living crisis that's increasingly defining this campaign.
Voters are getting better and better at seeing through spin, I think, and they do want practical measures. But whether either party has done enough is hard to say.
From toll relief and big renewable energy commitments pledged by both parties to the Coalition's Future Fund for Kids, stamp duty and gambling reform, and Labor's promise to lift the public sector wage cap and train and retain frontline workers, both sides have cast a wide net.
It's a big shift that we're seeing in state politics more broadly. It's no longer the grand visions that attract support, it's what you're going to do in somebody's neighbourhood that shifts the real votes.
This election will be won and lost in the western suburbs.
Western Sydney is a very diverse place. Like the outer regions of most capital cities in the country, the experience of one part of Western Sydney doesn't necessarily mirror another part.
But the Liberal Party is also fighting an insurgence of independent candidates targeting historically safe seats in Sydney's north.
The biggest impact is it means that they have to kind of fight on two different fronts. It's almost like you've got to walk this tightrope with how you campaign and what your messaging is, and that's really difficult.
New South Wales Parliament already has a sizable crossbench, and both parties need to gain seats to form a majority. If either fails, it's the crossbench that will be crucial in forming the next government. Cameron Gock, ABC News.